We're going to begin with sports, in fact, because starting with Kansas City Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker. Not sure if that name rings a bell to you, but it's gonna. He shared his very polarizing views about women, among other things, during a commencement speech at Benedictine Catholic private college. Take a look.
I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you. Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother.
Hold on, I gotta take a sip. If that wasn't enough for you, he also took aim at the LGBTQ plus community, calling Pride Month a deadly sin. So the NFL, the NFL has come out to say his views do not reflect those of the organization. No kidding. So the question we are going to ask, however, is should Butker be professionally penalized for this speech at a private Catholic college? Who wants to start?
I'll start. I'm going to say no, although I don't agree with anything he says. I'm going to say no, but definitely the NFL needs to reel him in because it reflects poorly on the NFL, sports in general. And, you know, I'm all about freedom of speech, but not when it's harming other people. And I also want to point out, like, if it was one of us that were saying these things on our personal time, we would be fired. So why does he get off the hook?
That's a really good point. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to think about it. I guess the question I have is, even if he was told to stop saying these things, that doesn't change his belief system. So I think we're at a point in time where isn't it a little bit like just sort of sweeping something under the rug? And what we want to do is hopefully change people's thoughts and minds around these topics, correct? Is that what we want, right?
Yes.
For me, it's like, how do we get creative around that? And I'm looking at you, Travis Kelce. Oh. You're on the same team as him, and so I feel like that's a great, no, look at your face. You're
sorry, because I'm like, you think Travis can change this guy's mind?
I mean, it does happen that somebody pulls someone aside and says, listen, man, like the way that you're thinking.
That's embedded, that's baked in.
Okay.
You're not changing
You feel like
that.
he's not gonna change his mind?
No, and you know what? I know the speech was a lot to take in, but first of all, I also believe in freedom of speech, and I think it's important that we hear the voices of people, even when we don't agree with them. And I love when people like that speak up, so I know exactly who you are and the way you think. I need more of people like you to show yourself, so when I see you, I know exactly how to treat you. But for me, it's not the speech, it's the deafening silence of a few key people, like the school administrators, who not only invited this man, but must have gone over that speech and gave it the green light. It is a deafening silence of the women who would just work their butts off to get their degree, who sat in that audience and listen to that man give that speech. And I haven't seen anybody on social media say, hey, I wasn't down with that. Hey, school administrator, that was horrible. Why did you guys have it?
Believe the same
Well, that's
thing?
what I'm saying. It's a deafening silence. And this wife that he, got really choked up talking about, well, stand by your man, sister. Where are you? Oh, you know what? You're probably not allowed to speak because men like that usually don't like to hear women's opinions. So it's the deafening silence for me and not what he says.
Oh, I love what you just said. Gave me goosebumps. You know who is speaking out? Swifties. Yes. You know why?
Yeah.
Because, as somebody said, this guy is on the Kansas City Chiefs. Why do we know the Kansas City Chiefs so well if you weren't already an NFL fan? Because Travis Kelce, boyfriend of Taylor Swift, that's the Kansas City, that's the army coming through. And so the Swifties, I gotta tell you, if I wasn't a fan of y'all before, I am so a fan of you now because they are putting him in his place. The last post he put on his Instagram was a month ago, and it has nothing to do with this speech. But underneath that latest post are over 25,000 comments that sound like this. As my teammate's girlfriend says, familiarity breeds contempt. By the way, he did bring up Taylor Swift without saying Taylor Swift. He was talking about Travis Kelce, his girlfriend, Taylor Swift, and she had this line. So someone writes, who's going to tell Harrison Butker you can't quote Taylor Swift when being a misogynistic D-head? Another one writes, hey, Harrison, would you like to take my spot in the military so I can go and be a housewife, one woman wrote? You like
Nice.
that one?
Yeah.
Burn. Burn. Another one writes, you should probably stick to playing with balls. And another one, my personal favorite, in a world full of Harrisons, be a Travis or a Jason Kelsey. So Swifties, they are taking him to task.
Oh, yeah.
As they should.
Yeah, and just a side note, star quarterback Patrick Mahomes is the only player so far who has distanced himself from this particular player. So thank you so much for doing that, Patrick.
Yes.
Hey there, what did you think? Drop your comments below and join the conversation. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you can find more on everything from food and fashion to pop culture and current events. See you soon.